Well, hello, welcome to episode 170 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. In today's episode, we're talking about how you can level up your LinkedIn. Are you on LinkedIn, but you're not really using it? Well, maybe you need some help. And I've got the perfect person here for us today. It is the fabulous Louise Brogan. How are you doing, Louise?
I'm doing great, Ian. I wish I had like an ounce of your energy. It's introduction's excellent.
Well, maybe you now know why I have to go for a lie down after these episodes, but but no, it's all part of the fun, I think. So
Yes.
So it's great to have you back on the show. Louise is one of the very few people that we've had back on the show. It's not to say that all our guests are awful and we haven't had them back. It's just we've just had so many amazing guests on the show. But Louise is a great friend of mine, and we saw each other a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was 3 weeks ago now in sunny Dublin, and it was your event. So I don't really want you to tell me any more about that now, because we're just waiting for. We'll start that again on the podcast bit, but
Sure.
Tell everyone where you're dialing in from today.
Yes, so I'm just outside Belfast in Northern Ireland, where I was saying to somebody earlier, we're getting our fair share of why this island is so green, because it's been raining for about a day and a half.
But it is a very beautiful part of the world. So
It is.
it's so, and the sun will be here. It will be.
I hope so.
Yes, it will be. I've just noticed we've got some fabulous people watching. Sebastian is saying more coffee for you.
Hi, Sebastian.
And Carmel is here. Great to see you. We saw you back in a few weeks ago, didn't we, in Dublin? Yeah. Hello, Ian, and hello, Louise. Great to see you, Carmel. I think it's time to get on with the show. So if you've just joined, welcome. It's great to see you watching live. Let us know if you've got any thoughts or any questions. Let us know where in the world you are watching from. But it is time to get on with the show. We'll be with you just after this. Hello, my name's Ian Anderson-Gray, and in this episode of the Confident Live Marketing Show, we're talking about how you can level up your LinkedIn. My special guest today is the fabulous Louise Brogan. Let's get on with the show right now.
Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson-Gray.
Helping you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video.
Optimize your mindset and communication, and increase your confidence in front of the camera.
Get confident with the tech and gear.
And get confident with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Well, hello. It is great to be here on this fabulous day. The sun is shining here in Manchester, but I believe it isn't quite so shiny in Northern Ireland, where my guest is from today. But never mind, life goes on, and I'm excited today because we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. But to let you know what we're talking about next episode, so this will be Thursday if you're watching live, or next Friday if you're listening to the podcast, we're talking about why you should not start with live video. So that's going to be an interesting topic. So do tune in for that. And if you want to find out more, go to iag.me/podcast. iag.me/podcast. Well, we've got some fabulous people watching live. We've got Carmel, who I said hello to just before. And we've got Paul watching from Dublin. And Turin is saying no better place than Northern Ireland. We've got Mel Bridger in the house. Very impressed that you're here again, Mel. Morning, made another live. Looking forward to hearing Louise's LinkedIn knowledge nuggets. That's quite a mouthful, that. And Sebastian is watching from Zurich in Switzerland. And we've got Susan, who is also from Belfast. So we've got quite a lot of people over the mini pond. I don't know if we call it the mini pond. But anyway, it is time to bring in my special guest today. I'm very excited to be introducing to you again onto the show Louise Brogan, who is a LinkedIn consultant, speaker, and host of the LinkedIn with Louise podcast and YouTube channel. Louise runs a specialist agency offering LinkedIn done-for-you marketing as well as training for teams who want to leverage LinkedIn. Louise is a huge Bruce Springsteen fan and lives at home with her husband, 3 kids, and a spaniel called Bruce. Welcome to the show, Louise.
Thank you. And always have to get a bit of Springsteen in somewhere, don't I?
You do. But where, have you not got a cardboard cutout of Bruce that you can put on the show? We need to have Bruce here.
Really, do you remember when you were a kid? I don't know if you ever did this, Ian. You used to go to the record shop and they would have like a new album was coming out, and you could put your name on the cardboard cutout and then take it home with you. And I used to have loads of Michael Jackson ones as a teenager.
Oh, that's funny. Well, if you haven't worked this out, Louise is a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. And maybe we can ask you a little bit more about that. I think you did talk about this last time you were on the show. But if you are watching or listening, let us know what music you are into. Do you have a particular artist that you are a massive fan of? I don't know whether I have one person. I like lots of different music. I'm kind of quite eclectic taste, but I need to think about whether there's one person. But anyway, we've got Kate. Kate Hills is here. Great to see you, Kate. Haven't seen you for ages. Just open up LinkedIn and you are live, Ian. Sadly, can't stay, but we'll join for the next one. Well, it's just lovely that you're here. And of course, you can watch the replay, which is great. And we've got Steve Brand watching from sunny Aberdeen. Oh, it's lovely up there. Yeah, send Louise some sun. I think it's actually no, it's grey skies here in Manchester, but I mean, it was nice earlier. Anyway, we're going to talk about LinkedIn today, and so we saw each other 2 or 3 weeks ago. You were putting on an event in Dublin. Tell us a little bit more about that event, and because it was a fabulous event, really enjoyed it. My first time on a plane for ages. And I always love going to Ireland. So tell us a bit more about it and how it went.
Yeah, it was really fun, actually. We had, it was Amanda Webb was helping me with it, and Carmel and my friend Melanie. And we called it a boutique conference. So it was a really lovely size. We had about 50 people in the end. And it's called Kickstart Dublin. And the idea was we're all coming out of the pandemic. We'd like to actually get together, meet in person, and all the talks were about helping people to kickstart whatever area of expertise we were in. So my part was about kickstarting your activity on LinkedIn and how I can help people with that. But it was just such a lovely crowd, wasn't it, Ian? I was so delighted that you came over. It was brilliant to see you.
Oh, it was. I mean, the name of the conference and the topic and the titles really appealed to me, because I think we all, after the pandemic, we all need a bit of a kickstart. We all need a kick at the butt, as they say in America. But I think for me also, the big thing was just seeing people again in the flesh. Yeah. And, that was such a big thing. And I love the idea of the boutique conference, because we're so used to these mega conferences, and there's nothing wrong with those. They're great fun, but I quite like the intimacy of a smaller conference, and I think that's what we got there, which is great. Let's have a look. See, we've got Katie Simpson is in the house. Great to see you, Katie. Hope I can get to Dublin and meet you, Louise, for the next one. Well, definitely.
Excellent.
And she also says, I really need to show LinkedIn some love. Well, you're in the right place. And Turin says, actually found you live on YouTube, then came to LinkedIn to drop a comment. Well, thank you. We are broadcasting, I should have mentioned this before, broadcasting to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, but not just my channels, but also to Louise's as well. We're using Restream Pairs, which is a really cool feature. So I think for a lot of people, LinkedIn is kind of like a glorified CV. It's a place to go dump all the things that you've done, all the things you're good at. And the next thing that you do is you leave LinkedIn, and that's it. For a lot of people. And I'm sure you have encountered this with your clients before, but and I have to admit, I'm a little bit like this. I really, really want to like LinkedIn, and I do. There's lots about it that I like, but tell us, Louise, why should we actually be on LinkedIn? Why should we bother?
Okay. Well, I feel that the network on LinkedIn So there's a couple of different things, Ian. Number one, your LinkedIn network is what you've created yourself. So if you want to be connecting and interacting with really interesting people on LinkedIn, you've got to be really careful about who you actually connect with and build a network of people around you, so that you're actually interested in what they have to say. This morning, I've been having conversations with two women about the metaverse, not something I know very much about, but it's just really interesting to be having those conversations with people. And that's happening because they're in my LinkedIn network. But the reason why I really encourage my clients and my entrepreneurial friends to stick around on LinkedIn is it's a little bit mercenary, to be honest. But when I discovered that when I spent time on LinkedIn, I won business much more quickly. And that the people who I connected with on LinkedIn tended to have more money to invest in the services that I was offering. And, that might sound a bit, some people don't like to hear that. Like, I recognize that. But if you're going to spend time on a social media platform, it might be, consider thinking about, if I spend, half an hour on LinkedIn every day and I get business as a result of it, versus if I spend half an hour on Instagram every day and I'm just, I feel like I'm putting stuff out there, I'm getting comments, but I'm not really getting direct business from it. Then you want to measure where you spend time, how long you spend time on there, and how quickly it leads to actual sales in business. One of the examples I give of this recently was a client who's an artist, and she was sharing pictures of her art on lots of different social media. And I said to her, you should try LinkedIn. And she's like, well, LinkedIn's not for me. It's boring and stuffy and full of people in suits. And I said, no, it's not. If you start connecting with people that you find interesting, they're interested in your art because they're human beings. They like the stuff that we are interested in as well. And she says, well, I'll give it a go. And she started talking about her art and why she was passionate about her art over on LinkedIn. And people in offices and owners of businesses started to buy her art because they had the money to invest in it. And she said to me, about a year later, I interviewed her for Small Business Saturday, which is one of the hats that I wear. I'm a small business champion. And she said to me, Louise, my accountant and I went over the books, and the transformation in my business in the last year is, she says, I really feel like it's down to you encouraging me to go to LinkedIn and talk about my products there. And it's been, it's just a phenomenal success for my business. And I thought, well, that's just brings me joy. So many people have a business where they are the person doing pretty much everything in the business, including the social media marketing. And if you can pick a channel that's going to actually lead to more sales in a shorter time frame, then that's the one I think you should be looking at. Of course, I'm biased because I am a LinkedIn consultant.
but I think that is, I love that. And I struggle to kind of understand why people would not like what you just said about it being the place where people are, you're more likely to find people who are going to pay you. Because at the end of the day, some people use social media for fun. But if you're using this for business, then surely you want to, you want to grow your business. You want to have a profitable business. So it seems like the right place to go is obviously going to be LinkedIn, I think. And so I think I think we all understand that we should be on LinkedIn. I also really liked what you said about you, in a sense, can choose your own experience by the people that you connect with. I think that's really important. I was actually going to come on to this later, but I want to come on to this now because I do, and I think you would agree with me here that is vital, the people that you connect with on LinkedIn. And I think that was part of the problem for me, that I was connected with, maybe back in the day, I would connect with just about anyone really. And then I realized that was not a good idea. So I ended up unfollowing a lot of people. So maybe you can you just help us to, I suppose, really, like, how do we find the right people to connect with? Because, this is a problem for marketers, particularly in small business owners. We tend to connect with people who are in a similar position to us, so other marketers.
Yes.
Whereas they're not necessarily going to be the people that are going to buy our stuff. So can you give us some of your thoughts on this?
Absolutely. So what you've just said is so true, Ian. And I actually find this about a lot of us as small business owners are in Facebook groups with other small business owners, and we create products and we try and, it's not that we try and sell them to the other people in the group, but sometimes we do. And you've got to think, well, that person's at the same stage of business as me, and they haven't got I'm pretty sure they don't have the money right now to invest in the services. I kind of need to go to somebody who is outside of my immediate network. So that's one thing. But how to find people on LinkedIn who are interested in what it is that you're doing. One lovely way to do this is, who else does that person need or want to follow on LinkedIn? So, for example, you teach people how to go live on video confidently. So who needs to do that? And on LinkedIn, it could be somebody who's doing a presentation or has to go and deliver a webinar on a regular basis as part of their role, and they're not feeling 100% confident about that. Well, who else are they following on LinkedIn? So they might be following people who are experts in personal branding, or they might be following leadership coaches. So you want to look around for people on LinkedIn who also support the people that you want to hire you. I know that sounds like a bit complicated, so I'll say it a bit more slowly. So for me, I want to help. There's two types of clients I work with. I work with companies who want their LinkedIn done for you. And I also help with people who want to be seen, to raise their visibility on LinkedIn and be seen as an expert in their field. Those people are also following coaches and consultants who help them to build a business. So I follow and connect with business coaches who are a few steps ahead. So they're not, my ideal client is not someone who has just started, because they haven't necessarily got the money to invest in my services right now. So I want someone who's probably been in business at least a year, so they kind of know what they're doing, but they want to leverage LinkedIn to help them get ahead. They are also following business coaches who are not beginning with the newbies. So if there's a business coach and they say, oh, we'll help you start your own business, that's not the person for me to be engaging with and following on LinkedIn, because their audience are not at the stage that my ideal clients are at. So going and finding somebody, and I'm not talking about like there's Stephen Bartlett, the Dragon's Den entrepreneur. I'm not talking about someone like that, because actually he's got so many thousands and thousands of followers and people interacting with him. It's hard to get noticed in all of that noise. So you're looking for somebody who's kind of mid-tier level. So they might have like 7,000-8,000 people in their network on LinkedIn, and they hopefully are posting a couple of times a week. When you see that person posting, you want to comment underneath their post, because you want their network to become aware of you and to go and check out your profile based on your very intelligent, well thought out response to their post. So we're not talking about saying well done or thank you or congrats. We're looking for a post that they have talked about. So possibly, here's an example. A business coach shares something about the stages of business, and they are supporting people who are maybe thinking about building a team. So they write a post about how to find the next best hire in their team. And you go on and you comment about that, and you say, well, actually, one of the things that I find helpful for people who are building their teams is having a really great presence on their LinkedIn company page. And maybe that's something they haven't thought about. So somebody reads that and goes, oh, that's interesting. Who is this person? And they see my name and my photo, and more importantly, they see my headline. And they go, LinkedIn consultant, need to know more about that person. Or they go, oh, not interested in LinkedIn consultants. And that is really like, that's, they're interested or they're not. But if they click on my name, it takes them to my LinkedIn profile, which is written in a way that speaks to that person. And that's when they decide that they want to reach out and connect with me. And likewise for you and I, we want to look and see who else has commented on this thread, because they are at the stage of business that our ideal clients at. And again, we look at their name and their headline and we say, oh, that, Ian said something really interesting there. Oh, he's a live video consultant. That's interesting. And I click on your name and I decide whether or not I want to connect with you. And that is the way I feel that you should really approach LinkedIn and how to build your network on LinkedIn. So people that you are interested in because they've got something interesting to say, people you think might be a potential client or customer, or that they might have people in their network who they would say, oh, you need to speak to Louise Brogan, which literally happened this morning with Luke Sharon, who I introduced you to in Dublin. He's also in Manchester. He is a video marketing expert. He runs a video marketing company. And and he's very in the whole YouTube world, like YouTube experts, YouTube people. And one of his YouTube expert friends had posted something this morning and he commented underneath and he said, oh, you need to meet Louise Brogan. She's all about LinkedIn. And that is, to me, that is just the perfect kind of way that the LinkedIn network should work. Building relationships, people saying, oh, you need to talk to Ian, he does live video. And it's not a fast way of growing your network, to be honest, but it means that you are building a network that is of value to you in your business and one that you actually want to go to LinkedIn and engage with and connect with and find out what people are talking about today.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's about growing a business sustainably. Whereas if you go to other networks, you might be able to grow the number of followers really quickly. But are they the right followers? Are they the right people? So I think that is amazing advice, and I'm going to be definitely borrowing some of those things as I move forwards with LinkedIn. Now I can see we've got some wonderful people watching. We've got somebody, we can't see your name, unfortunately, probably LinkedIn permissions, but saying, I came here from watching Louise's YouTube video on newsletters for LinkedIn. Excited to see what you guys say regarding leveling up. And we've got Ashley Leeds watching on LinkedIn. Hey, Louise, how are you? Got a
love Ashley.
With Louise. And we've got Davina watching from sunny Bangor in Northern Ireland.
Excellent.
We've got a lot of people from Northern Ireland and also somebody watching from Dublin. Good morning to you. Oh, this is lovely. Kate is back. So I'm back as this is so good. I didn't want to miss it. Now, Kate has got a question. So I've got some more questions to ask you about the whole kind of process of connecting.
Yes.
But a lot of what you said there was maybe for coaches and consultants and service-based businesses. But what about product-based businesses? And I know you kind of mentioned, was it like an artist before?
Yes.
But Kate is asking, I'm interested to hear more about LinkedIn for product-based businesses. What are your thoughts? Because a lot of people think LinkedIn is not really for product-based businesses. And I'm sure you probably disagree.
Well, as a complete side note, my background's in IT. I was a software engineer, and we had a brilliant conversation last week. Everyone's going, what a geek, about products. Products in the IT world are actually deliverable pieces of software. So I was running an event saying, I've started a network for women in Belfast, and I said it's for service-based businesses, not products. And this lady says, oh, but I work in product delivery. And I'm like, no, but not like literally physical products. So anyway, product-based businesses as in tangible products like this lovely cup. So you want to go on to LinkedIn and explain to people how your product can benefit them. And there is a lovely lady in my network, and Debbie, I can't remember Debbie's second name. But Debbie and her sister during lockdown, created a wine cooler that you could basically, you pour your bottle of wine into this bottle. It's like one of the metal water bottles, but it's specifically for wine. And she said, because she's in my network, she's like, right, okay, Louise talks about LinkedIn, so I'm going to have to go and try and sell this on LinkedIn. And it was a massive success because, it was a really nice product. Like I said earlier, people on LinkedIn have more expendable income. They just, if you look at any of those annual reports about social media websites, the average person on LinkedIn has a higher average income than the other social media platforms. So she went on and she talked about this bottle and why they'd created it, and why it would be such a. Actually, she went for the corporate gifting route. why this would be a great gift to give your staff for Christmas, and how they could deliver, in the colors that you wanted, and you could add your brands and stuff like that. And I think she sold out of her first run of them. So it's just more about, for me, LinkedIn, it's not about, here's my product, it's amazing, you should buy it. It's here's something we've created, here's the story behind it, here's the benefits of using it, or why it makes such a great gift for your clients. I don't know what Kate's business is, but if your product was organic hand creams or something, it's why this makes such a wonderful gift for your admin support team, and how we'll deliver it to you, and we'll go over and above. And here's a lovely testimonial we got from somebody who really liked using our product. So it's about that, as opposed to going, here's my gorgeous product, I've worked really hard at it, so could you please all buy it now? So it's about, talking to your audience in a way that they are like, oh, that sounds like a really nice option. Maybe we should find out more about that and how we can get hold of that.
I think that's solid advice. And so Kate works with British product-based businesses. And so I think, Kate, absolutely your clients should be on LinkedIn. And just, if you want to find out more, connect with Louise, because she is...
The other thing, Ian, the dog has just come in. That's hilarious. The other thing is, then, if it's British products, then maybe the beauty of LinkedIn is that you have got the supply chain there. You've got the people who make the decisions about what brands to bring into their chain of maybe 8 to 10 local independent shops or a national chain. Those people are on LinkedIn, and you never know who's going to pick you up. The artist I spoke about earlier, she actually got featured in Vogue from all her activities that she had on LinkedIn. So it's being visible and building a network of people. So one of the things about your network on LinkedIn is that the people who connect with you might not necessarily be the people who actually buy from you, but they will refer other people to you. So very often, and I know we're going to get into messages, very often I will get a message from somebody and they'll say, oh, I was talking about such and such, and this person in my network recommended that I reach out to you, Louise. Very thing happened yesterday. One of my network messaged me and said, oh, Louise, somebody was asking about LinkedIn training, and I said that they should connect with you. So I've sent them a message and shared your profile to them. And that would happen quite regularly.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great. So, and Kate says, if you can find that post about the wine cooler, Louise, I'd love to see it.
Excellent. Yes. Message me, Kate, and I will have a look for that.
Yeah. And she also says, I'm a coach for product-based businesses that make in the UK. They're obsessed by Instagram, and I'm trying to explain the benefits of LinkedIn to them. So it sounds like, Kate, you already know this, but it's just how you kind of like persuade your clients. Leona is here saying, lovely Louise, not sure if I mentioned this to you before, but I actually came across you on one of your YouTube videos and was like, she's from Northern Ireland too, and she's class. So inspiring. I love that. So yeah, it shows you the power of YouTube as well. But we're talking about LinkedIn. Now, Mel is asking a great question here, and I want to kind of come back to connections and messages and things like this. And so this is a great question, Mel, because this is kind of what I did. So Mel's saying, should I go through my follow list and remove people that no longer resonate with what I'm doing? And I suppose, Louise, we should probably talk about the difference between you can kind of, I don't know what the word is, disconnect, or we can remove the connection and we can unfollow, which doesn't do that. So what would you say?
Okay, I've very clearly defined thoughts on this. So Mel, you can unfollow them so that you are no longer seeing their content in your news feed. But unless they are being offensive to you, or like you've fallen out with them, which I can't imagine because you're such a nice person, don't disconnect from them, because most of the people on LinkedIn, and the percentages of this change all the time, but it's around 97% of people on LinkedIn are lurking and not posting anything. So they will see you if you are showing up on LinkedIn and posting a couple of times a week, and maybe even going live or doing a video once a week on LinkedIn. People are paying attention, and they will tell other people about you when it comes up in conversation at a business networking event, at a family barbecue. Honestly, in my child's gymnastics parents' evening, even someone turned around and said to me, "Oh, I've seen you go live on LinkedIn." So people are watching, and lurking is a terrible word, but they are watching you and following you. They are not necessarily commenting, but if you keep top of mind with that person, they will think of you when someone asks about the thing that you are the expert in.
That's such a great point. And I think it can get a little bit depressing sometimes. And this is how I felt on LinkedIn, because I'll post something on Facebook and then I'll go over to LinkedIn and it feels like crickets because people aren't engaging. Now, there's quite a few things that we can do. And I know that, Louise, you're going to help us with those about engagement, because that's one of the questions I want to ask you.
Yes.
But I think we also always need to remember that not everyone is going to comment. And I've had the same experience. Like there's a client or someone who became like a really big client of mine came across my LinkedIn videos, but they never commented. But I know they continue to watch my LinkedIn videos. I wish they would comment, because it would, but that's more of a kind of a vanity thing for me, or makes me feel better. I think that's important to say. Now, and just a few more comments from people. And this shows you the power of LinkedIn, because we're getting so many comments. I did say about, I don't get so much engagement here, but I think this is all Louise's LinkedIn, actually. So anyway, David is saying, I absolutely love LinkedIn for making professional marketing. And over on Facebook, we've got Andrew Pitchford watching from Brisbane by the sea. Brisbane, it's a lovely city. I haven't been there for about, don't want to think about it, like 25 years. And Dr. Elo is in the house. Great to see Dr. Elo watching on YouTube. And Turan says, isn't it funny how all the best people start out in software? Oh, that's hilarious. Kate is saying that was really well explained. Pauline watching on LinkedIn got so much positive feedback from women in business members after a recent workshop by Louise. Taking notes here again. And this is a great comment from Sebastian, who says the lurkers are often the buyers too.
Totally,
yeah, that's great.
I totally agree, Sebastian. Yeah.
Mel says,
to say something.
"Oh yeah,
sorry.
You say."
No, I was going to say, one of the things I have learned, Ian, is you have to nurture your audience, and you have to kind of lead them by the hand as to how you want them to behave with you. So what I mean by that is when I post on LinkedIn now, I tend to get quite a lot of comments and engagement on my content, because I literally tell people that's what I'm looking for. So they're used to that. So I started a poll yesterday, and LinkedIn did. I totally get it. They've made an announcement that they're going to give polls less priority in the LinkedIn newsfeed, because they were being completely abused. People were just doing a poll about nonsense. But I did do a poll yesterday about being a thought leader, and asking people, did they see themselves as thought leaders? And it was really funny, because I was doing it during one of my LinkedIn VIP sessions. So I was working with this gorgeous woman from Florida, Angela, who hopefully will be watching this later on. Hi, Angela. And I was showing her how to create a poll. And I said to her, do you know what? Let's just do a poll. Let's just create a poll now. And by the end of our session, we had got like 28 people had voted on it, and we'd start a whole discussion kicked off underneath it. And she says, wow, that's pretty fast. And I said, yeah, but my audience are used to me asking their opinions on how to do things on LinkedIn. And also, I only really ever talk about LinkedIn on LinkedIn, which I think is something that people go a wee bit astray on, is that they'll say, okay, I'm a copywriting expert. And then they start talking about something that's got nothing to do with copywriting. I'm not saying you can't show your personality. Of course you can. But if I follow you because you're giving me great copywriting tips, and you start talking about, Deborah Meaden and her new venture into being organic and eco and stuff, maybe it's not necessarily new, I'll be like, oh, well, I'm not I'm not so interested in that. I was really interested in what you're saying about copywriting. So I talk about LinkedIn on LinkedIn. My goal is to help people through my content on LinkedIn, and people know me for that. And quite often I'll ask for their input into content that I'm creating for my blog or my podcast, and people are used to that. But it took a while to get there. So you have to bring people along with you. And I do think it is 3 to 6 months to get kind of that ball rolling of turning up consistently, people interacting with you. And of course, you should be interacting on their stuff as well, because it is pretty reciprocal.
Absolutely. So I'm going to follow on with a question following on from what you just said there. But just to say, Mel Bridger says, okay, that makes sense. Thank you. I'm moving into mainstream education from the fitness industry, so I want to connect with potential employers too. So it sounds like LinkedIn is definitely where you should be. Susan is asking 70% or 90% lurkers. I don't know. Is there any?
I said 97%.
Oh my goodness, 97. Yeah. And Dr. Elo has jumped over to where the party is on LinkedIn. So thank you. So yeah, LinkedIn is where it is. So yeah, I think for so many of us, we might know. So you said like 3 months is before we can start to see things moving on LinkedIn. But for a lot of us, we're so used to things moving quickly, and that seems like a long time. And I know for me, if I post something on Facebook, I tend to get a lot of engagement. But if I post on LinkedIn, at the moment, I don't get very much engagement at all. And I know why that is. It's because I have not spent that time investing on LinkedIn. I've not spent the time engaging with people. I probably haven't, probably need to organize my followers and things like that. So how do we, if we have been not investing on LinkedIn, and now we've decided that we've listened to you, Louise, and we say, yes, Louise, I agree, this is what we need to do, and we go on to LinkedIn and we post our first post and it's crickets and it's a bit depressing. How do we get started? Should we be posting first, or should we be actually just engaging with other people? What should our strategy be?
I would definitely post some things on your own account as well, because when someone goes to so say you leave a really interesting comment on this LinkedIn Live today, someone else is watching and they want to follow up and say, oh, well, Kate Hill, she sounds interesting, I want to know more about her. And they go to Kate, sorry, Kate, for picking on you. They go to Kate's profile, and there's literally, it's really funny when you click on the activity section of someone's profile and somebody has never posted, there's like a little desert island cartoon that comes up and says, somebody hasn't posted here in a while or something. It's a bit naff. People like IT have really interesting sense of humor. It does make me laugh, but it's not. I suppose it's not fair to say it would take you 3 months to build up. I'm saying it took me to the level where I get so much engagement now, I think, Ian. But I'm waffling now, apologies. But if, for example, the client I worked with yesterday, she's literally just started LinkedIn, so she's got nobody in her network at all. So I said, she wants to start posting consistently about her area of expertise. So I said, start with 1 post a week and spend a bit more time going and finding the people you want to connect with and commenting on their stuff. And I would have, honestly, even if you've been on LinkedIn for 3-4 years, I would have that 50-50 split of going and engaging with other people's stuff as much as thinking about what you're going to be posting yourself. There's lots of little tips about how to post to get engagement as well. You don't want to write a big, long, waffly post that's just far too long and people won't have time to read it. But you do want to say something that starts a conversation. So when you go, next time anybody's watching goes to make a post on LinkedIn and you click on post update, it literally says, what do you want to talk about? So not what do you want to sell us or what do you want to tell us, it's what do you want to talk about with your network. So that means you're trying to start a conversation. And the general format that I recommend is, here's something I want to talk about, here's what I have to say about it, and then ask your network a question underneath that. That was how I would do it. And if you are really struggling and you're getting nothing at all, then you could say, Hi, Ian and Louise. I liked what you said in the LinkedIn Live yesterday. This is my post. What do you think? You wouldn't be doing that all the time, but you can do that to kind of kickstart yourself. What I would really encourage people to avoid, though, is joining any kind of engagement pod, because that's not good. You can't end up in a silo of people all commenting on each other's stuff that's not really leading to actual building relationships and network building. But that's a trap I've seen quite a lot of people fall into. So I would like anyone watching to avoid doing that if possible.
Yeah, and the same thing on other networks. I mean, I've seen it on Twitter and Instagram. It's just, it seems like a really good idea, but you're just getting the wrong people commenting. You want to get the right people engaging on your posts. So that's great advice. So maybe start with 1 or possibly 2 posts per week. I would also say find like experts, like follow Louise and find out look at what she posts. And don't obviously copy it, but get kind of inspiration, get some ideas, and do it that way. That would be good. But what should the percentage be between us posting and engaging with other people? Is there like a daily process or strategy be? I'm just kind of interested, Louise, what you do. Do you have like when Monday to Friday, do you like have a particular time in the day where it's your LinkedIn engagement time or your posting time, or maybe not? Tell us a bit more about what you do.
That's not my personality.
Well, do you know what? That makes me feel better, because that's, in a sense, that's my worry. In a way, that's how I feel it should be, and I like the idea of there being a process, but I think that would. I don't know. I would get stressed if that was the case and bored.
So I do have a rule of thumb on this and honestly, this is another reason why I love LinkedIn, because honestly, 2 posts a week is plenty for anybody. The done for you service that we offer, we curate 2 posts a week for our clients, and that is all you need to get really good traction on LinkedIn. So if I was to say, so some of my clients are like, well, Louise, I want a system or process to follow, right? Okay, so let's say we're going to post on Tuesday and we're going to post on Thursday, and on Monday and Wednesday and Friday, I want you to pop into LinkedIn for half an hour maximum and comment strategically on other people's posts, where you will get seen by people who will go and check out your profile. And just checking with your notifications. And if you're trying to build your network, I would recommend trying to connect with maybe 2 or 3 people a day maximum. LinkedIn did put a limit on the number of people you can. Maybe if Seb's still watching, he can remember what that limit is. There's a limit on how many people you can connect with in any given week, to stop people spamming their networks. I think it's still like 150 or something, so it's still massive. But actually, the way I connect with somebody is by sending that person a message and starting a one-to-one conversation with them in the private messages. And that is where the business side of things really happens for me on LinkedIn. So if you're trying to start an actual conversation, a genuine conversation with somebody, 2 to 3 a day is a lot to handle. So they reply and then you're in a conversation with that person. It could take you like 20 minutes. And you don't want to be doing that. That's why you can't do that with like 10 to 15 people every day, because it's too much.
Now that's great. And Sebastian says 100, and Leonie says 100, but that's daft anyway. Some people are getting 250 as a beta. That's nuts. No,
that's sorry, Ian. Sorry for interrupting. Inviting people to follow your company page is 100. You have 100 credits a month, and I've got the 250 credits a month. I meant if as an individual sending out connection requests, there's a limit on that as well, but I'm not sure what that is. But that 250 beta thing is the number of people you can invite to follow your company page from your own network.
Makes sense. Eileen Smith is in the house. Hopped over from YouTube to LinkedIn. LinkedIn are loving us right now. And Kate also says, I get more engagement on LinkedIn than Facebook or Instagram. Love it. Which is great. Awesome. And Laura has just followed you. So let's. So we're posting, we're engaging. How do we get from? So this might seem like a really stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So we engage, but how do we then get from that point to the direct messaging people? And so we haven't connected with the person yet. Yeah. How do we make that leap and have that conversation?
So I have a bit of an analogy about LinkedIn, about being like your favorite industry conference. Okay. So you and I are wandering around a conference, Ian, and we've just heard somebody speak on stage, and you really enjoyed what they said about something, and so did I. So we both had commented on it. And then we meet each other, and I've just heard you talking to Kate in the queue for coffee about the speaker, and I say, oh, I really like that speaker too. And you say, oh, hello, we've never met. My name's Ian Anderson Gray. And I say, oh, hello, I'm Louise Brogan. I'm a LinkedIn person. And you say, I'm a live video person. And then we exchange business cards. That's us connecting with a private message. And that's as simple as it is. So if you're watching this right now on LinkedIn and there's other people leaving comments and you've just looked at them and went, oh, that's really interesting. Look what that guy does. Then you want to go and check out their profile and connect with them with a message. And you just simply say, hi, Kate, I saw you commenting under Ian's live stream today. Really interested in British-based products, and I'd love to add you to my network. And it is simple as that. It's how would you behave if we were at an event and we just met? If we liked what each other said, we would exchange business cards, or that's really all you would do right now, isn't it? Or you'd go and say, well, I'll follow you online or whatever. It's the same thing. You send someone a connection request because it looks really interesting what they're doing, as opposed to what a lot of people are sending out multiple. I had a really funny one last week, and I had to turn down her connection request because she called me Fiona. You're definitely copying and pasting this message to people. Hi, Fiona. And I was like, that's not my name.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. And I think in a way that's why I'm asking the question, because I get so many of these connection requests from people, and usually there's no note with it, so I have no idea who they are.
No idea where they've come from or why they're connecting with you.
Yeah. So presumably, if you get a connection request from somebody you don't know and there's no message there, what do you do?
So I actually go and check out their profile, and I see, do we have connections in common? And if they look like somebody, so I can pretty much tell at this stage if I want to be connected to them or not. And if I decide that I am going to be connected to them. So instant no's for me are people who are like podcast promoters, or I can edit your podcast, or I can edit your YouTube channel. I'm like, no, you're just going to spam me and send me messages. So those are an automatic no for me. But other people, I do go and look at their profile and think, oh, right. So that person knows Ian. Okay, well, I'm going to accept their connection request. And then I send them a message and say, hi, Kate. Thanks for connecting with me. I'd love to hear more about your business. Conversational. That's what I would do, because again, that takes us out of the mainstream on LinkedIn and into the personal conversations with people. And quite often, I would get messages from people saying that, oh, sorry, someone's at my window. I would get messages from someone and they would say, I've totally lost my train of thought here. That's really bad. I got really distracted there because someone was at my window.
It's fine. So,
yes, they would say, oh, I heard you on a podcast and I'd like to know more about your LinkedIn services. And people are like, you get messages from people asking you about how to work with you. And I'm like, yeah, all the time, honestly. So it's wonderful.
That's what you want. Now, Kate, don't worry. Kate's all worried now. She's sorry, Louise.
Kate has been used as my example all the way through.
Look, Kate says, sorry, Louise, I have just sent you a connection request with no message. But
yes,
I think
it's absolutely fine. I honestly, Ian, I do so many talks to I do talks to universities and stuff.
Yeah.
And people message me and go, oh no, I sent that connection request while watching you And then you said not to send without a message. And I'm like, that's absolutely fine, because I could completely see how that just happened.
Well, and LinkedIn makes it so easy just to send a connection request without the message. It's actually sometimes difficult to do. And I love this from Turan, who says, because he's right, and you're right. I think people are trying to overcomplicate creating a relationship. As you say, do what you would do in real life, because social media is real life. But it kind of feels, sometimes it doesn't feel like real life. It feels weird, and people are doing a lot of kind of weird things. So I think that
in real life and online.
Well, that's true. That is very true. So I think that's great, and I actually quite like John Espirian has got this thing where he's got a magic word that he has in his LinkedIn profile, and he says you get extra points if you use that word when you're connecting with me, and I like that. Yeah. I think, having said that, I think I've only ever had 2 connection requests with people who've actually used my word, so maybe it's not a great idea. I don't know. But the other question I was going to ask you, somebody sends you a connection request and you connect with them, but quite frankly, they're a bit boring and you don't really like their content. What do you just unfollow them, or what do you do?
I would just unfollow them. I don't really remove connections unless, honestly, someone's been offensive. I just unfollow them, because you just don't know if that person, their sister-in-law might be looking for a LinkedIn trainer, or their company has decided to go all in on live, and they're like, oh, then you'd speak to Ian or Louise. So you never know where that lead could come from. But if that person is boring, I'm so sorry, boring people, just unfollow them. And then messaging, it's interesting, isn't it, Ian? Like, somebody really, you're a wee bit like me, and I think we're probably quite polite. Maybe it's like, being from this part of the world, and someone will say, oh, they seem really friendly, and you want to be friendly back. And then all of a sudden they're like sending you videos in your private messages about their products, and you're like, ooh, not really interested in this. You're like trying to back off slowly. Whereas other people would just go, oh, remove connection, not interested. And I'm like, oh, I'll just leave that over there and not look at it, and hopefully they'll go away. Which is not the most mature response. I do appreciate.
Yeah, but I think thinking about a simple way of looking at it is, don't do what you would not like done to yourself. So it's, when it comes to the posts that you produce, would you be interested in this? And I found this on Twitter, because I changed my Twitter strategy. Yeah. I realized I would not follow myself. I'd probably unfollow myself. So I changed my strategy, because I thought, well, this is ridiculous. Why am I posting like this? And I think it's the same on LinkedIn. Would you like to be bombarded with lots of videos in your direct message feeds? Would you like to see lots of promotional posts all the time with no added value in your LinkedIn feed? No. So don't do it. Create stuff that's valuable and interesting. And I think that is the key. So do follow Louise, because her LinkedIn feed is just always very, very interesting and fascinating and great. So you definitely need to do that. We're almost out of time. I just wanted to ask you a quick question before we move into a question about LinkedIn Live, because this show, obviously, we talk a lot about live video, but do we need LinkedIn Premium? When would you suggest that we do pay for LinkedIn?
Okay, so don't pay for LinkedIn Premium if you are not already getting really good engagement already on your LinkedIn strategy and whatever you're doing on your LinkedIn marketing. What I love about LinkedIn Premium is I do like seeing who has looked at my profile, not because of vanity, but because, say, like we had the event in Dublin 2 weeks ago, and somebody said to me, oh, I have a person in my network who I think needs your support, Louise. I'm going to introduce you to them. Well, if that person then shows up having looked at my profile, I was about to say I'm going to pounce on them. I'm totally not going to pounce on them. But that might be a time when I would then send that person a message and say, oh, hi, Mark. Such and such recommended that we have a chat about LinkedIn. Is there anything I can help you with? Because I already know that they want to do that work. So I find that's useful. The other thing that's really useful is access to the entire suite of LinkedIn Learning video content. There are so many high quality courses on there that you can check out. But most people don't actually need LinkedIn Premium at all, I don't think, unless you're like a sales person for your company, in which case you should definitely try out Sales Navigator. But it's a totally different tool to what we need, Ian. And I think most people don't really need LinkedIn Premium if they are in the entrepreneur space.
Makes sense. Andrew is asking, hi Louise, how do we get access to the speaker icon with your mini audio intro? Very nice.
Excellent. So everyone has access to that. But you can only add it on your mobile app. So you need LinkedIn on your mobile phone, and you go into the top of the profile is called your introductory cards. That's your banner, your photograph, your headline, all that bit, that whole big top square. And in there, on your mobile app, when you go into edit that section, which is the little pencil on the top right, just underneath the banner image on the right hand side, if you click on that pencil, you can add an audio recording. It's supposed to be how to pronounce your name, but it is a 10-second long recording, and you can say whatever you want. So you could tell people about your business if that's what you want to do.
That's good, as well as pronouncing your name as well.
Yes.
So that's great. I'm definitely going to be doing that. Eileen says, I don't like how LinkedIn shows people that I view their profile. They should let me do my research in peace.
So Eileen, I have a video on my YouTube channel. I think it's like the second most popular video I have, and it's how to view people's profiles anonymously on LinkedIn. So it's just a setting in your privacy. You just go in and change it.
Yeah, definitely. That's so definitely check that out. Leonie says the annoying thing is how easy it is to accidentally send a request with no message on your phone, and I would agree with that. So I suppose try and do it on your desktop. It's probably a little bit easier that way. I don't know.
You can send them a message afterwards.
Good point. I always overthink things, so thank you for that. Mel says, I love, this is for about me. I loved it when you went all badass with your Twitter profile and unfollowed everyone. Yeah.
I did that too.
It's the best way. Susan says, so I think it's important to clarify this because it's sometimes confusing. If you unfollow, do you still remain connected? And it's not a daft question. I think it's important to...
It's not a daft question. It's actually the most searched term on my website at the minute. So that's kind of fascinating. Do you follow or connect? So when you unfollow somebody, you are still connected and they are still following your content unless they're also unfollowing you. But you don't see their content. So it's kind of like, if you imagine like a two-tier sandwich, right? Oh, here's something, right? So this is our connection, right? And we are unfollowing you, but you are still following us. So if this is a really bad analogy, so this is me and this is you, Ian, and we are connected and we're following each other. If I unfollow you, you're still seeing my stuff, but I'm not seeing yours. Whereas if you unfollow me, then the same is happening, but we're still connected. I've never tried to use a prop to explain that before. I hope that worked.
I think it did. And for podcast listeners, you wouldn't have understood any of that. But
I'm so sorry.
But that's okay. No, you would, because Louise explained it really well. Anyway, so thank you. No, thank you for that. It's really helpful. I do want to ask just briefly about LinkedIn Live, and this is kind of interesting because next episode, it's all about why you should not start with live video. And I think we've talked about all these other things, and I think you need to get all of these other things in place before you start to think about LinkedIn Live. But where does LinkedIn Live fit into all of this? Should it fit into all of this?
So I think like your services are much in need, Ian, because I think a lot of people are, particularly on LinkedIn, are wary of going live because people see it as a more professional platform and they're worried about how they're going to come across, and they don't come across as the expert that they want to be seen as, and maybe recording a video seems like an easier option, and of course is for a lot of people to start out with. But LinkedIn Live for me, like I said earlier about I'm just not organized enough to be like, here's when I post and here's when I do these other things. It's just, I've never been that person. My if I was organized, I would have a live show on my LinkedIn Live every Friday. And it is a really fast way for people to become really connected to you, and for you to, for people to really feel like the build a know, like, and trust factor. LinkedIn used to really limit who could get LinkedIn Live. Now, if you turn on LinkedIn Creator mode, and you have at least 150 people in your network, and you have posted something on your LinkedIn profile in the last 6 months or so, you can get access to LinkedIn Live. You do need a third-party app in order to go live on LinkedIn. And when you create your LinkedIn Live, you ideally want to do it ahead of time. So you might say on Wednesday, I'm going to go live on LinkedIn this Friday. It creates an event in your LinkedIn profile that people then can be notified about and can turn up. They know about it in advance. They can actually, if they can click that they're attending, it says, do you want to add this to your calendar? So it puts it in your external calendar. So it's a really, really valuable tool. And it would be, it's not that we want everybody to be going live all the time, because that would be a bit much, I think, on the platform. But I think to try it out and see if your audience like it, I think it's a really good tool that can be used really well. LinkedIn do ask that you go live for more than 10 minutes. Whereas if you're uploading a video to LinkedIn, it can only be under 10 minutes. That's an interesting difference, I think. And originally, before LinkedIn Creator came on the scene, people would go live for like 3 or 4 minutes. And I thought, well, it's not enough to get engagement with people and get people asking questions, like all the brilliant comments and questions we've had today. So I think it's a great tool. I wouldn't be doing it. They don't want you to go live every day. That's another. They've got loads and loads of guidance about what they want people to do with LinkedIn Live. That would actually be quite worth checking out. LinkedIn have got brilliant resources about how to use this platform themselves over on like their own websites.
Definitely check that out. And I think just do work at everything else first, and then think about LinkedIn Live afterwards. But so. it's not overly complicated. Yes, you need to use a third-party tool. If you're a Mac user, I'd recommend Ecamm Live. But there's StreamYard, there's Restream. There's a lot of tools out there that now work with LinkedIn, and it's actually remarkably easy. We are out of time. I can see other questions popping in, but maybe Louise, if you wouldn't mind kind of popping back and just replying, and I'll do the same as well. Yes. But we are out of time, I'm afraid. Thank you so much, Louise. It's been great to have you on the show again. This has gone so quickly, and there are still more questions that we could ask. But I do want to say, you do have a resource for us.
Yes.
So to tell us a little bit more about this is the LinkedIn checklist, and you can find this out at louisebrogan.com/download. That's louisebrogan.com/download. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's like a 3-4 page PDF, and it's basically ideas or tasks for how to approach LinkedIn on a daily and weekly basis. So it's to give you a little bit of structure for how to use LinkedIn, and hopefully people will find it useful. Yeah, daily and weekly tasks to help you build your business on LinkedIn, and people are very welcome to download a copy of that.
Awesome. And of course, you can follow Louise on LinkedIn, and you will have scattered yourself across the other socials as well. Are there any other social networks that people can follow you on?
Well, it's kind of funny. Like, my Instagram is a real mixture of here's what's going on in my podcast, and here's me out for a walk with my dog. I do love Twitter, but I probably only really talk mainly on here on LinkedIn, and also building up my presence on YouTube, which it's turning out to be a platform I'm loving.
It is a great platform. And of course, you've got a podcast, which is, am I right in thinking it's LinkedIn with Louise? Is that right?
LinkedIn with Louise. It's about 210 episodes old.
That's amazing. That is awesome. Well, we are out of time. Thank you so much, Louise. It's been great to have you on the show. But that is it for this week. And until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Make sure you subscribe at iag.me/podcast so you can continue to level up your impact, authority and profits through the power of live video.
And until next time,
Toodaloo.